So I've been to Brussels.
Me too.
And as any person that's in Brussels, at some point, you got to go see the little pissing boy.
It's Dennis, by the way. I don't know.
Very well done.
That's the intro.
Best joke, and I ruined it.
There are things we think we know about places, but history, prejudice, stereotypes, and the viral nature of 24-hour news and social media has made common knowledge about faraway places more twisted than ever.
Today on MisInfoNation, we try to clear up some of the outright lies, mistakes, myths, and misnomers of an entire nation by doing what we do best, by having a chat with someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
Today, we're going to Belgium.
Which is French, right? Or German?
I thought it was Dutch. I mean, what the hell is Belgium? Welcome to the show where we ask the stupid questions so you never have to again.
Welcome back to MisInfoNation. Bordered by the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Germany, and France, Belgium is a densely populated, complicated, but often unseen, unheard, and uncared about place. It is, however, filled with odd, rich histories. A mountain of outside influence, so many divides, 3 official languages, and tens of unofficial languages and dialects.
On the surface, it's known basically for bureaucracy, fries, chocolate, diamonds, Tintin, a statue of a peeing boy, and, well, not much else, right?
Not many people can truly look at Belgium as quote-unquote defined or iconic or renowned. But as we all know, it's often the understated places that are the most surprising.
And that goes for our guest today, too. Our friend, the wonderful, kind, and hilarious Belgian-born Dennis Vanneste.
All right, we can still do this, right?
This is the first time I've had a microphone in front of my face in a long time.
So we haven't done MisInfoNation in nearly 2 years.
Oh, wow. And you decided to start with me?
Yep.
I mean, we decided to start with Belgium.
Yeah, me. There's like one person in... I mean, we did the research, right? There's nobody there.
We did choose the Belgian.
So I did I did listen to previous podcasts of you guys, and I didn't notice that in the end, you say very nice things about the person that you talked about.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, this is gonna be amazing.
Dennis is a 3D design master with a savagely dry sense of humor, an off-the-chart level of empathy and charisma, and more than 30 years of trying to figure out what it means to be from a place that no one really recognizes. How's that, Dennis?
But what does Dennis actually think we're going to ask him about today?
I wrote some things down. Some of them I don't want to ask the question, but I think maybe you guys will, so we'll see what happens about that.
Very neatly, I have to say, and on graph paper.
On squared paper.
Yeah. We don't know how to type in Belgium. So I'm thinking that you're going to ask me about the languages. What is Flemish? What is, Walloon? What's the Walloon part? Flemish? All these things. Belgian fries versus French fries.
Yeah.
Why do we have the best beers? Plus separate glasses. What's the difference between Dutch and Belgian people?
Yeah.
Politics. That's definitely going to come up. Comic books maybe, although I don't know too much about comic books.
If we have to start somewhere, it makes sense to start with Belgium's biggest icon of sorts. And that has got to be Tintin.
Created in 1929 by Georges Remy, which is how it's pronounced properly, better known as Hergé, Tintin, or Tintin, became a worldwide star. The globe-trotting Belgian reporter and his trusty dog Snowy, or Milou in the original French version, is surely as adored at home as it is internationally.
So I've never read Tintin.
What?
Nope.
Oh, I don't blame you. Me neither. No.
What?
No.
Come on.
I know other comic books.
Tintin being racist in Latin America. Nobody read this. Am I the only one?
I've seen the pictures, and they still sell the bags of him being dressed as a Chinese person in Brussels airport, which I think is amazing and terrible at the same time. I don't know, it's not great. and there's so many Tintin comic books that aren't readable anymore,
Yeah.
that like banned for good reason, I guess.
Tintin has gotten in a little hot water over the years for being, well, culturally insensitive. The Belgian court actually rejected the banning of a 1946 edition of Tintin in the Congo in 2012. Tintin escaped trouble once again, but in Belgium, he's not even called Tintin.
Tintin is very famous, although in Flemish we say kuifje, which has no meaning to you guys.
Kuifje.
Yeah, kuifje. It's like if your hair would stand up.
Quiff.
Queef?
So
Queef.
kuif.
Queef.
So
Got to queef very fast.
Right
oh
there.
yeah, that was number 8 on my list.
So how much do you love Tintin?
I feel like, and that's the weird part, I feel like everybody that I met from abroad has more love for Tintin than I have ever had.
You're just like, look at that queef head over there.
Yeah.
Well, that aside, given that perhaps Belgium's most famous export is imaginary, it'd seem pretty easy to believe that it's because there are no actual famous people in Belgium.
Wait, you know definitely one famous Belgian. He was your favorite action hero.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger, of course. Very, very Flemish. No, very, very Belgian in general. So Jean-Claude Van Damme, I mean, everybody knows him.
The muscles of Brussels. How Belgian is Jean-Claude Van Damme? When you see him, hear him, does your heart flutter?
No. But I think in general, Belgians' heart don't flutter that fast.
What about when he has that mullet?
Oh, the mullet.
Does your heart flutter then?
Oh, yeah, well, my heart flutters when I see a mullet in general. I think why not?
Are mullets a thing in Belgium? Is that a thing?
I don't understand this question, but they were a thing in the 80s.
Yeah?
I guess everything comes back eventually. So I'll do this podcast again in 10 years and I'll be like, yeah, they're totally back.
But you were in Belgium a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't see a lot of mullets.
No. No.
Yeah.
I do think it's cool on kids, though.
It's incredible.
Like, even I'm scared when I pass a kid with a mullet. I was like, here's my wallet in my phone. It's fine.
Take it.
Yeah.
But scouring the internet for a list of famous Belgians beyond Jean-Claude Van Damme was pretty amazing. The incredible singer-songwriter Jacques Brel, the world-renowned gypsy jazz guitarist Django Reinhardt, master painters Peter Paul Rubens and René Magritte, fashion designer Diane von Furstenberg, and icon, activist, and actor Audrey Hepburn. It's true.
What?
Yeah, I think I heard that one before.
What are you talking about?
But even I am like, really?
So there goes the stereotype that Belgians are ugly and hairy.
Wait, first of all, I'm right here. But now insulting me? Oh my God. You would have Matthias Schoenaerts, which is a famous actor now.
Yeah.
I know him.
He's very Belgian. I would call him very Belgian.
For our non-European listeners, he's an actor that you would maybe recognize now because he's gotten all the way up to Hollywood.
Bullhead.
Bullhead's amazing.
If you want to see a
There's one Belgian
destroying
film.
movie.
One Belgian film that also gives you that sense of, what is this country?
Yeah.
So, we finally made it. Languages. Let's get down to business. We're talking about a country with 3 official languages. And we're pretty sure Dennis can speak all 3.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. So you speak French? I was like, yeah, no, I'm one of those stupid Belgians that only knows one part of the language. Because we do have 3 languages. We do have French, Flemish, and German, actually.
What the German, though?
It's like 1%. So
I was
nobody
gonna say.
even bothers. Well, people who are highly educated and they need German for their work will learn German, but otherwise it's more French. And like in schools, until you're 12 or starting from 11, I think you start with French already.
So Belgium is split into 3 parts. There's Wallonia, that's the French-speaking region, Flanders, the Dutch-speaking region, and the capital region, which is basically Brussels. So where does Dennis fit in?
I grew up in Flanders, or the Flemish region, but I'm from West Flanders. So we still make a big difference in between West Flanders and East Flanders. And West Flemish people have their own dialect. So I'm very close to Bruges. a small town called Torhout. And the funny thing is, in West Flanders, we're considered sort of the farmers of Belgium, in the sense that our dialect is so strong that even if we try to speak proper Dutch, everybody directly knows that we're from West Flanders. We have different G's and H's and things like this, and we even get subtitled. When we're on Belgian television, they will subtitle us.
That's amazing.
Because they don't understand.
Mildly insulting?
No, it's amazing. I love being West Flemish. I can speak my own language all day long and still meet people from Holland or from Flanders, and they would barely understand us. So I'm very happy you speak. It's like this extra language you have in your pocket that you can never use. Yeah.
How different is it?
If you would say, how are you? In Flemish, it would be hoe gaat het? And in West Flemish, it would be West.
That's not even close.
Oh, it's very similar. One of the nicest...
The first one sounded like who farted.
Who farted? And the other one was West.
West. Kanye West farted.
So if you're considered the farmers, does that mean people think you guys are the yokels? You guys don't really, not very smart.
Yeah.
Sheep, potentially?
No, it happened once, but I mean, I'm sure this is going to be cut out.
He needed the money.
I'm not planning to become prime minister, so this will never come out.
So Ye is definitely not Belgian, but there is one incredibly famous Belgian. One that you know. A tiny statue which sits at the center of Brussels, and depending on who you talk to, embodies calm, defiance, complexity, simplicity, seriousness, or the humor of its nation. A 55-centimeter bronze cast of a boy pissing in a fountain.
So I've been to Brussels. And as any person that's in Brussels, at some point, you got to go see the little pissing boy. And I don't know your experience, but when I got there, I was like, it's just a tiny little pissing boy.
Any of those kind of national icons, they're always a little bit smaller than you imagine. They're always like a little bit like, it's like seeing Tom Cruise. Like he's a little bit weird looking and he's tiny. He's like
Tom Cruise is actually the same size as Manneke Pis. If Manneke Pis would stand on an apple box, it would
be Tom Cruise.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing about Manneke Pis, very kind of low key.
Yeah, it's on like a little weird.
And as a national symbol, it's like a very simple idea, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, this kid seems fine.
Yeah.
But he seems happy.
Was he wearing clothes?
What do you mean?
When you saw him?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
They put clothes on him?
Yeah.
What?
They dress him pretty much up every day of the year because there's a special event for this or that.
They dress him up for Christmas?
I think there's a museum of all the clothes that he's wearing during the year. Yeah.
Yes, I got naked mannequin.
You got straight nude.
I got straight
birthday suit mannequin.
Totally.
I thought you were going to say I got naked. I was like, that's probably one of the laws that's not appropriate anymore now.
You and me.
You call that a pissing boy?
I'll show you a pissing man. That's a weird question to ask. But do you have any feeling for Manneke Pis?
What does it say about a nation to have as their national symbol a little boy that pees? I mean, we could have had anything. We came from German, Holland, and French roots. We could have done anything. And then one guy decided, no, let's have a little boy that pees and that everybody's going to come and visit. And everybody does.
Everybody does. I did. But it's also a little bit of a fuck you.
On the national symbol scale.
Yeah, it's not like some muscular dude killing somebody else. You know what I mean?
Jean-Claude Van Damme pissing.
I would definitely go see that.
Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the splits with his
he's
junk out.
wearing
He's taking a pee into a fountain.
But honestly, I don't know the story behind Manneke Pis.
Me neither.
You'll do it in the voiceovers, I presume.
Yeah, we'll find
so.
that out. I hope it's good.
The most famous origin story of the Manneke Pis is that of a young boy who saved Brussels from disaster. The enemy was at the gates, ready to bring down the city walls with gunpowder. Fortunately, a little boy who desperately needed to pee put out the fuse with a nice, strong stream of urine.
Another tale paints the boy as the victim of a witch's spell, frozen in time as punishment for peeing on her door. But the word is, most Belgians now just see it as a little bit of toilet humor. a sly joke in stark contrast to this intangible national personality masquerading as a tourist attraction. Brilliant.
In the bordering Netherlands, Belgians are considered, well, not that intelligent. And in Belgium, the Dutch are considered arrogant, loud, and tactless. It's a rivalry of sorts, based mostly on history and proximity, as these things quite often go. But here's some context.
And cue historical documentary music. Perfect. And action.
In 1815, shortly after the fall of some guy named Napoleon, the Congress of Vienna were struggling to keep Europe together, chilled, neutral. France and Prussia were too strong, and in an attempt to cool their boots a little, the area that is now Belgium was given to the newly founded United Kingdom of the Netherlands.
Some guy named William of Orange was put in charge, and the people of Belgium, or the Southern Netherlands as it was known, were not big fans of him or the colour orange. Insane taxes, religious intolerance, and high penalties for breaking the littlest of laws saw a short-lived revolution in 1830.
A provisional government was formed, and they quickly declared an independent Belgium. King Leopold took the throne, and Belgium and the Netherlands parted ways. William the Orange wasn't thrilled. In fact, Belgium wasn't considered a country by the Dutch until 9 years later. The rivals were off to a shaky start.
Is the rivalry between the Netherlands and Belgium, like how much of that is real and how much of it is just jocular? And
I don't think anybody hates each other or they don't get along. I love Holland. Like I love Dutch people as well. They're very different. Dutch people, as you all know, are very direct, which can come across as quite harsh. And even for me, when I first had some friends that were Dutch, I was like, that really hurts a lot. Like it did the opposite and make my heart flutter. It really...
It was not a Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually liberating that they're so honest, because us Belgians, we don't do it. Like we're always quite timid. We're always going to be like in the background, not doing too much, not offending people. And that's why nobody knows where Belgium is.
You just need to go, hey!
Yeah.
But does it feel like you're related somehow because you share a language? Do you feel there's a connection? Or
No, I don't feel like we're related to Holland, and I don't think the Walloons feel like they're related to France. So no, I think we did become a very different kind of people, but we could never go back now. So let's keep it like it is, but let's try to get along in our own country, which is like 2 hours big. So that would be cool, honestly. I mean, if I
It's 2 hours big.
I heard the comparison with Russia, for instance, that they all speak Russian quite similar, no dialects, like everybody speaks pretty much the same. If I go 10 kilometers out of my own town, they will speak a different dialect. So that's not good. It's just not good.
It's not good, but it's also really rich.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The new country of Belgium was officially up and running. And to announce themselves to the world, to burst through into the limelight, they gave us one of the most hated musical instruments of all time.
Did Belgium invent the saxophone?
I think we did, yeah.
Sticking with sexiness.
I was going to say,
Was his name
Thanks?
Mr. Sax? Probably.
An instrument that's used 90% of the time so terribly.
it can be transcendent,
Yeah.
John Coltrane,
Yeah.
and then it can be horrendous.
Yeah. Kenny G.
Which some people,
So thank you, Dennis.
somebody who works on this is a big fan of Kenny G.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
He will fight us to the death.
He will fight us to that, and he can take us down.
Okay. Hungry?
I mean, sure, but isn't Belgium like a culinary desert? Isn't it just chocolate, waffles, and fries?
No. We do have, I think how they would say it in French or maybe Flemish, like we're Bourgondiers. We love good stews, for instance. We're very good in like winter food. So if you go to certain cities, you're going to eat a lot of good food, actually. So we have, like from Ghent, you have Gentse waterzooi. You have a stoofvlees, which is like a stew that's very famous for Belgium.
Super good, yeah.
Above all that, we have those amazing dishes. But one of the first things that I will eat when I go to Belgium is fries.
What are special about your guys' fries?
I think it's because we bake them twice. That's already a start. Like it's a two-process baking thing. But then also, as far as I remember, or it used to be like this before, that restaurants needed to have a special permit to make fries. So you couldn't just be a restaurant owner. No, you also had to have like a thing that hangs on your wall saying that you passed the test to make fries.
So, Belgian fries, not French fries. The story goes that a group of soldiers stationed in Belgium in the First World War had their minds blown by double-fried potatoes. But the problem was, they'd been told they were in France. They were in fact in Belgium. French fries, a misnomer that is stuck to this day.
Belgians take their fries super seriously, and in 2014, a group successfully campaigned to have Belgian fries added to the UNESCO list of cultural treasures. There's also a museum of fries in Bruges. The Friet Museum has everything you need to know, maybe more than you need to know, about the history of Belgian fries, cooking techniques, and recipes.
So, onto the other beloved staple of Belgian cuisine. Waffles.
Yeah. Well, we have different kind of waffles, by the way. We have Brussels waffles and then waffles from Liège.
What's your topping?
I would say whipped cream. You were still talking about the waffles. Yeah.
Nicely done.
Dennis, that's amazing.
So whipped cream on your waffle.
Yes, thank you.
I hate you both. Waffles. Undeniably Belgian. Let's just leave it there.
Another undeniably popular rumor floating around on the internet was a little surprising, and it's one that seems to be as prevalent as ever.
If Belgium can be considered moderately famous, and even moderately famous is a stretch, it would seem that one thing that they really are famous for are the most terrible roads on the continent.
You know what the worst part about this is? That my dad, he's retired now, sorry Dad. He worked in asphalt. That was what he did his entire life.
Oh no.
So shout out.
Can we get him on the phone?
Yeah, sure. No,
What's the deal, Dad?
probably already asleep now. But I don't know why. It sucks. As
What
soon
are we
as
talking about? So like bumpy...
a lot of potholes in the roads. And I once asked my dad why the reason for that is, and he said that it's because when they grind down the old roads, they would use sometimes the same asphalt into the new roads. So they would like repurpose it.
Right.
Oh, you definitely have to do it. If you ever have the chance to go from Belgium to Holland, as soon as you cross the border, and I swear to God, it's probably where the sign is saying, "Welcome to Netherlands," the road just becomes magical.
Smooth. This was the exact experience I had going from Bolivia to Chile. Smooth sailing.
My dad did work in Bolivia for 3 years, though. No, he didn't.
Dennis
We
is
only
destroying
hire-
the roads into your country.
We only hire Belgian asphalt people in our country. So perhaps the conditions of the road led to a true Belgian obsession: cycling. Eddy Merckx, perhaps the greatest cyclist of all time, was Belgian. He won 5 Tour de France titles among a record 11 Grand Tours. Every one of cycling's 5 one-day tournaments at least twice, and 3 world championships. But with such terrible roads, why does Belgium love getting on their bikes?
Well, I think every country has the soccer, football, whatever country you're listening to this. But then for us, it's cycling. And I used to cycle when I was a kid as well. Like I did races and everything. I was terrible at it, but I did it.
You had the bike with the handlebars
Yeah,
that go
still
curved down.
Still have the bike. Yeah,
You
for
look,
sure.
you look like a cyclist.
I don't know if that's a
think
good
that's a good
thing or a
thing.
bad thing, but hey, thanks. I hope in the end of this conversation, the nice things you say about me will be nicer than that.
I'm working my way up.
He looked like a cyclist. Oh wow, that's gonna be on my grave there.
So rather than answer the question in his typically contradictory style, Dennis reminds us instead of something else that the Belgians are totally obsessed with, despite potholes the size of bomb craters.
We do use a car for everything, and I don't know why, because we're such a small country and still we need to transport ourselves everywhere by car. Like when I went back to Belgium, I have a friend who lives 5 minutes walking. I can see his house. From my parents' place, I can see his house.
Yeah.
And it was like 8 in the evening. I was like, oh, I'll go visit my friend. And my mom was like, hey, do you want me to drive? I was like, but he's right
I can
there.
literally
He's
see it.
like, and she's like, are you going to do this? I was like, it's 5 minutes walking.
But you're going to use your legs.
Yeah.
So does this mean that people are driving as soon as possible? Like you were driving...
Yeah, most people get their driving license when they're 18. For us, it's, 16 you can start, 16, 7 months, something like this. And then when you're 18, you can fully drive.
So you have 2 years of beer drinking under your
2
belt.
years of being drunk.
See, you can get sensible, and then you have to do the heavy work, like the driving part. So I think in America it's different.
Yeah.
You get to start driving how old?
16.
Depends on the state, yeah, but-
And then at 21, 5 years later, they discovered this magic potion
Yeah.
called beer. And they're like...
And by then they already had guns.
guns.
By that point,
Yeah.
internet porn, driving, guns.
Then drink. It's in the correct order.
Well, we'll be back after the break with weird-ass laws, beautiful, beautiful Belgian beer, and a little bit of pigeon milking. I almost got there. Pigeon milking. It's not easy. It's not easy, that one. And a little bit of pigeon milking. You'll find out. Just stick around.
Okay, welcome back. On to the centerpiece of MisInfoNation Belgium.
The one thing that is truly synonymous with the country.
The one thing they do better than anyone, and they have done for centuries.
The one thing that makes Belgium Belgium. And something near and dear to our hearts. Belgium is one of the places that makes pretty decent beer.
Wow. Pretty decent
It's
beer,
okay.
he calls it. No, it's yeah. No. Let's be honest, we do make the best beer. Between the normal beers, I think every country has it handled. They know what to do. But then we come up with the 7 degrees, the 9 degrees, 12 degrees
Up
sometimes.
to 12 degrees.
14, yeah.
And it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing to see a foreigner drink one of these higher rated beers because they don't know what it is. Just like I don't know what it is to drink whiskey, for instance. I didn't grow up with it. So for me, it's a very different experience. But we learn how to drink technically when we're 16.
I was going to say, how young were you when you started drinking?
I was 16, yeah. The first party that I did, I ended up in the hospital. Yeah, that was my first drinking experience. So my brother took me to a bar. He already gave me 4 beers. I never drank before. He gave me 4 different beers. Krik, Hoegaarden, Jupiler, and another one. Well, I don't remember. And then we went to a party. And then I just woke up in the hospital. That's kind of what happened. Great evening, though.
Woke up with a mullet.
Woke up with a
Yeah, at that point I could still wear a mullet. Yeah, for sure. My mom had to pick me up. I had to first get my bike out of the ditch. That was the first thing. Then I had like the worst hangover ever. And then 2 weeks later, the first thing my brother did when we went out, gave me a half a liter and he says, let's try this again.
Let's go again.
And that
Get
was
back
good.
on the bike.
Exactly.
There's one called Quack. Quack.
Quack.
that.
The quack comes in like this wooden handle, I would say, that's separate from the glass. So you can, if you want, take the glass out. And there is a bar in Ghent that they have a 1.5 liter glass, I think.
That's not a glass.
If you want to drink one, it's the same. It's like with the wooden structure. If you want to drink one, you have to give your left shoe.
Because they're like, we want this glass back.
Yeah, because
You
they
can't
steal
leave.
it otherwise. So they put the shoe in a little basket and then they hoist it up to the ceiling. And then when you want to leave, you give in your glass. They will put the little basket down. You get your shoe back.
Oh, that's amazing.
And you can only drink 1 or 2 of them. So you're also not allowed to drink more.
You wake up in bed with one shoe and a soggy sock.
The bar is called the Dulle Griet, I think. Yeah.
De Le Griet. When you're grasping at like what is Belgian? Like
Yeah.
what does it mean to be Belgian? That is what it means to be Belgian.
I think a lot of people, yeah.
It's like giving up your shoes like you're going bowling. Equal parts unsurprising and obvious. The third biggest festival in the entirety of Europe is a beer festival in Ghent. A town whose population of just 260,000 balloons to over 2.2 million for this week-long celebration of Belgium's finest ales.
There's 3 big European festivals.
Yes.
There's one in Valencia. You have Oktoberfest, and then you have the Gentse
Okay.
And the Gentse is in the city of Ghent for 10 days long. It turns into major concerts.
That sounds amazing.
So I try to go for one weekend every year, and I went last year as well. And what they did now, which I thought was amazing, and it kind of made me feel like a king walking around, very drunk, is that instead of giving you a normal cup, if you asked for a duvel, which has its own glass, they will give you a plastic duvel glass. It's like walking around with a wine glass, but then
like
even
this.
fancier. Like I was just walking there thinking I owned the place in the streets full of drunks. But I even took it with me here. Like I had it at home. That's how much I loved it, yeah.
There are over 800 different varieties of beer in Belgium and more than 2,000 different brands, each with their own glass, from more than 400 different breweries. Not bad for a population of just 12 million people. That's the same amount of people who live in Pennsylvania.
And after a nice pint of 14% Trappist monk beer, according to the internet, there's nothing the Belgians like more than a spot of falconry. Falconry. Yeah. Falconry.
Yeah, falconry, like people do it, but I thought this is like in every country that there's people doing it. I didn't think
Not
that
in
this
my
is...
fucking country. You don't fuck with falcons?
No, not anymore after the restraining order.
The falcon has to wear the ankle
They're
bracelet.
vicious for tiny worms, though. Well, I am going to say we don't have anything to do with falcons, but we do like pigeons, though. Groups of people who will have pigeons in their back garden and then train them to circle around the house. And then people will go to France, release them. It's like sort of a pigeon race.
Yeah.
But people who breed these pigeons and play with them, we call them pigeon milkers.
Wow.
Never know how to milk a pigeon, and I will never try. But that's what we call them. You're a pigeon milker if you do this trade.
An insult?
No, it's just
Like I would identify myself as a pigeon milker.
you can be whoever you want to be, Andres. Just don't say it in public.
Pigeon milking, or fancying, as it is called in English, runs deep in Belgium. The country is considered the traditional heartland of pigeon racing and has been since the First World War. A waning popularity in the century since hasn't meant that Belgium has dropped off the radar in the pigeon racing league. In fact, in 2020, a Belgian pigeon breeder named Gaston van de Wouwer sold one bird for $1.9 million to an online bidder named Hitman in China. Belgians are still the best pigeon milkers in the world.
Yeah, so Belgians do have an odd way with words. We were taken by one word, which Dennis informed us had made its way into the national vernacular.
I don't know. It was like the most famous word a couple of years ago, and I think it was called zwaffelen. And that's when you put your penises together as a sword fight. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that made it into the dictionary, but enough people did it apparently. I don't know. Yeah.
We need a term for this.
What was the word?
Zwaffelen. Yeah.
Does it happen though? Does it? Because you need, again, coming back to it.
I mean,
You
honestly,
need a hard
you guys
dick.
spend a lot of time together. If there's somebody that could know if it happens,
I'm usually flaccid around Neil. 98%.
there might have been some like semi-cross streaming at some point.
or like Ghostbusters or something.
Sword fighting, never.
In life.
In life.
Now we're talking, not in
But
Belgium.
I've crossed streams with
I have. I've been in the position of peeing
Next to
That's
people,
not
yeah.
something I did before.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to say, never like pee in the toilet with your dad and like...
No.
But I never swaffled with my dad.
No swaffling.
Well,
Rest
welcome
in
to
peace,
Belgium.
I mean, pigeon milking all day long. But
I'll milk that fucking pigeon until the cows come home.
what are we doing?
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but I'm enjoying it. Well, apparently in Belgium, it's illegal to assume a tall, beautiful, blue-eyed blonde is Swedish. It's illegal to wear a red hat in Antwerp. It's illegal to have more than 25% foreign beers on offer in a bar. On the flip side, it's totally legal to throw Brussels sprouts at tourists, to drive into oncoming traffic, or to requisition dogs or oxen for the purpose of pulling military vehicles.
Belgium is pretty weird when it comes to lawmaking. But why?
We have a lot of governments. So we do have a lot of laws that could either go for the Flemish side, but not the Walloon side.
Right.
Or that could be decided in Brussels for both of them or not. We have 6 governments. We have the Brussels government, we have the Flemish one, and then the Walloon one. We have a federal one, and that's already 4. And then we have a French region or French-speaking language one and a Flemish-speaking language one. Between the 50 and the 60 ministers, that's what we have. What? For a country that has like 60 people. So yeah, it makes no sense. And often some of them have pretty much the same position, but then either for the Walloon part or from the Flemish part or for the Brussels part. I think 3 years ago, next year they have to vote again, so 3 years ago, everybody voted, and I think close to between 20 and 30% voted extreme right. But there is a law in Belgium that it's cordon sanitaire, I think it's called.
That's amazing. The
There is-
sanitary
that's-
string,
Yeah.
which sounds like I'm talking about a tampon. But
Yeah.
that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
No, it's like the security limit.
There is a law in place that they can never rule alone between
'Cause
20
they
and
can't be
30%
Right.
votes.
So even if they get the
that's-
full vote, they still have to go to like coalition.
Yeah, but nobody wants to coalesce.
Nobody wants to hang out with
Yeah,
them.
but you know what happens? Nothing. Because it's like 4, 5 different parties that all have different opinions, and then for 4 years, nothing happens. So I'll see them again next year. Well, not me anymore, but like the Belgian people will see them again next year, and it's going to happen again. And
so crazy.
Nothing happens.
So Belgium holds a very odd record in politics.
Belgium has a record of the longest period without a government, beating Iraq. Maybe. Twice.
So I wrote it down because I did want to know these dates, because I kind of was wondering myself. So in 2010, we had the record for 541 days. And then in 2018, we crushed it with 592 days.
Almost 2 years. You can look at it on 2 ways, which is this place is dysfunctional, makes no sense. On the other hand, it seemed okay.
Well,
Yeah, no,
isn't
there
that
was
the
no-
worst part? Like, that nobody seems to get the logic that, wait, without them, it functions? So what are they doing there then?
You mean are there still fries? Let's go.
Yeah, of course.
Are
of course.
there pigeon milkers?
Yeah.
The pigeons are flying.
They are the basic of every.
We're still
of
eating
Belgium.
fries. We can still fuck Parliament. Who cares? This is the greatest country in the world.
Like how Flight of the Conchords sang it. Too many dicks on the dance floor. I think that's exactly what we have in politics. To be honest.
So let's go through a few of these crazy Belgian rules.
Gambling at home in any way for money is illegal.
I did play poker at friends' places. Like, I'm not gonna say for a lot of money, but we did used to do it. I didn't know it was illegal.
So you're a criminal.
You're a badass.
That's why I left the country. Yeah, exactly. And all the reasons I specified in this conversation.
I like number 2, no nighttime police raids.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fabulous.
That's right. No nighttime police raids. The law prohibits raids on private homes between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. unless a person living there invites the authorities to enter, to check out their meth lab, or they have been directly observed committing a crime. You can drive straight into oncoming traffic.
What?
Ooh, I know what you mean. Is it the rule of right that you? Yeah, it used to be that we had a rule. If you're coming from the right side, you have priority. It used to be with signs and everything, and I think now it's just a standard thing that I think in every junction you will have to look to the right, making sure that nobody comes from there, because if you didn't give them like priority and they hit your car, they're going to be in the right in the court of law.
Along with this, Belgium also has an entire range of so-called gas fines, which are small penalties for minor disturbances.
If you would mow the lawn on a Sunday, which annoys a lot of people, you would get a gas fine for that, because it's just not proper to do. It's not okay.
If you are a busker and you're playing in public, you can be fined if you're not singing in key.
That's great. I think that's kind of fabulous.
Honestly, yeah.
It's a good filter. It's a cordon sanitaire.
What do you mean, ridiculous loss? This is
Cat lovers can receive a gas fine letter if they keep more than 5 cats in an apartment.
It's a lot.
I feel like everybody should get a fine.
I was going to say, I think it should be more than 3.
I think you should be forced to look at your life.
Publicly.
Lokeren?
Yeah, lokeren. Yeah,
Lokeren. All forms of fortune telling and dream interpretation are banned.
Genius.
Wow. I didn't know I would love lokeren that much.
I was going to say, I think I'm falling in love with Belgium generally.
A law allowing penalty mitigation for wounding or killing someone in a duel was also recently repealed.
So we got rid of that law, and then we instated this waffle law. Just, so technically, we could still duel. I mean,
Pistols at dawn.
If you have a
that's
penis.
when most pistols happen, yes, at dawn.
Morning glory duel. All the laws from the GOAT lawmaking country in Europe feel somewhat sensible, we suppose. So let's move on to one of the most inherent Belgian sensibilities. Home owning.
De Belg heeft een baksteen in de maag.
It's not too bad, actually. De Belg heeft een baksteen in de maag. So we were born with a brick in the stomach.
Okay, what does that mean?
What do you need bricks for?
To build houses.
To build a house.
So Belgian people are very traditional still in the way that we do go to a certain path that we have to go through. Like you study, you go to work, you find somebody that you love, you build a house, and then live hopefully happily ever after. And that's kind of it. Yeah.
Do you feel like you need to get yourself a house? Like,
I did.
Oh, you did already?
Yeah, I actually sold it a month ago. So
yeah. you when did you buy your house?
I was 24 when I bought a house.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. It was time for me to move out. And I think a lot of Belgians feel that at a certain point in their 20s. After school, you work for a year or two and then you're like, I don't want to live with my parents anymore. So
But I want my own thing.
I want my own thing, yeah.
Wow.
And it's fun though, but I feel now looking back, maybe you're too young. Like to all the young listeners, just 2 years younger than me, save your money, travel, do something fun. Go figure out MisInfoNation by yourself. Do all these things before you actually settle down somewhere, I think. Yeah. I don't regret my choice, but if I would redo it, I would do it different.
Yeah.
One of the things that is said, I don't know if I have this stereotype, but apparently it floats around, that Belgians are very nice.
Yeah, I think we're quite proper or modest as well. And I think the modest part helps with being nice because we're kind of the people that rather be behind the curtains than in front of them. Well, I can definitely say this for myself. I never want to be. The only reason I'm doing this is because it's not filmed. So it's my voice and you guys would change it into a beautiful one for sure. So I'm very okay with that. But yeah, we don't really like it. I think we are properly nice, weirdly enough, because there's no catch. We just try to not have conflict. That's how we live our lives, just scurrying around, like just trying to find a road that lead us further without actually having to bother anybody. And I feel it for myself as well. If I have questions, I'll first try to solve it without asking anybody. And if I really, really, really can't, then I'll have to ask somebody. But otherwise, it doesn't happen, no.
When you have to ask somebody,
You feel guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel guilty. You're like, fuck, I couldn't do this.
you have to trust us when we tell you that this is 100% true about Dennis. He is hands down one of the most genuine people, and some of that Dutch forwardness has rubbed off on him too. Maybe that makes him an unstereotypical Belgian, but that's what this show is all about.
So the question, as always, is does Dennis feel that being Belgian carries something else? Something darker or heavier?
For us, it's like the opposite. It's like nobody knows who we are. As soon as I say I'm Belgian, I get accepted weirdly enough. Like people are like, oh, you're Belgian. They don't know what it means, but they know it's not bad. So, like if you go somewhere, like if you go to Spain and you say I'm German or English, they're going like, tourists.
Yeah, right.
If I say I'm Belgian, no. We like fly under the radar for everything. And then you reinvent yourself if you want to. You could be the same person and we're all going to be the way we are in a certain sense. But
I can't imagine you changing yourself too much
I don't know.
wherever you are.
I don't know. Maybe I would. Let's test it out. So I'll see you guys in 10 years and we'll have this conversation again.
The one thing that's true is that regardless of what, he still has to bring back a crate of waffles every time he comes back home.
Just like when I go to Belgium, the first thing I get at the airport, I take a train for 2 hours and the first thing I'll do is eat fries. Because if I don't, I will be miserable, I think. I don't know. There's something.
And it's pretty good if like the things that make your nation are fries, waffles, and a little boy that pees. And milking pigeons, I guess, if I have to throw something else in there. And Jean-Claude Van Damme.
We don't need much more. We're happy with the things we have.
You can take the boy out of Belgium, but you can't take Belgium out of the boy.
So Dennis has a comfort to him that can only really come from being born in a country with no real, truly ubiquitous international stamp. And we don't mean that as an insult.
For us, inventing fries, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and the saxophone are more than enough to hang a national identity on. But does Dennis feel at ease with all of this?
How does it feel to be asked these questions over and over again?
Do you get asked these kind of questions?
No, and most people, like we said, barely know what Belgium is. So, like most of the people think I'm either part of France or part of Holland, so they're not even Flemish. It's like, if somebody tells me, oh, you speak Flemish, I'm already like flabbergasted. I'm like, well, hello there. Like, how did you know?
You get to live behind the scenes, like what you're saying. You're like,
and I think in general, Belgian people are quite relaxed about it as well. We know it's a fuck up there. It's fine, but it's a fuck up everywhere. So in the end, it all works out. Yeah.
Thanks.
it's been a
Thanks
pleasure
for hanging out
Dennis.
with us, Dennis.
Well, I mean, I love hanging out with you guys, but you never invite me to anything. No, that's not true. It's been truly an honor to represent Belgium, which I still don't think I was the right guy to do
He
this.
says so uncomfortable.
I swear to God. But I just, to all Belgian people, I hope I didn't offend anybody. And yeah.
We just have to wait for the paperwork to come through from Brussels.
Put it in the comments, people. Put it in
Say what you want about anonymity. Belgians, well, at least this one, are chameleons. Not because you can't see the chameleon. It's more like you never really realized what a chameleon was to begin with.
So thanks to our Belgian chameleon, Dennis Vanneste, for all of his wisdom and laughs. For what it's worth, we here at MisInfoNation put the worldview of Belgium at about 60% correct. Though only 2% of the world actually knows where Belgium is.
And as per usual, Dennis left us with a few of his favorite places in the country. So as we always do, here are his saved pins for you to check out when you're next visiting. Of course, these will always be in the notes in the Cerca app.
Number 1, the Ardennes. Dennis is obviously a man in touch with nature, so he urges you to visit this unspoiled area in the southeast of Belgium. It's full of forests and valleys and rivers, picturesque villages, traditions, and folklore.
Number 2, Antwerp. The beautiful diamond-encrusted port city on Belgium's river Scheldt has a history dating to the Middle Ages, but it may be more artsy than you think. It's a very modern city full of museums and also is home to the great Duvel brewery.
Number 3, Ghent. Dennis tells us skip Bruges and go to Ghent. It's just as beautiful and as medieval and is a real student town, so there's always something fun going on. Head there in July if you can for the Gentse Festen, a week-long celebration of music and beer.
Number 4, De Spinnekop, the Spiderhead. Dennis's favorite authentic Bruine Kruig, or brown bar, is also in Ghent, where the beers are affordable, the food is good, and the ambiance is perfect to talk, play board games, and just chill. It's only open from Monday till Thursday though, just to weed out the weekend warriors.
Number 5, Heuvelland. A cyclist's dream, which includes Kemmelberg, a very steep cobblestoned hill, tons of beautiful countryside and terrain great for cycle racing. This is where you come to see a classic race.
So guys, it's great to be back.
It really is. We'll be continuing to put MisInfoNation in the Passport feed, but we had such fun making it and it got such a great response. It really has become its own thing. So you can also subscribe to MisInfoNation in its very own feed, anywhere you get great podcasts.
Next time on MisInfoNation, well, we may be in Japan, maybe South Africa, we might even stay in Spain. You're just gonna have to wait and see.
We'll see you then with more cultural myth-busting. This episode of MisInfoNation was written, produced, and edited by me, Neil Innes, and Andres Bartos. Huge thanks again to the warm, funny, and brilliant Dennis Vanneste for helping us make the show. You can follow him on Instagram at VANNESTJE. Don't worry, we'll put it in the notes. Our theme music is by River Deep Mountain Dew. Stacey Book, Dominic Ferrari, and Avi Glijansky are better served double fried with mayonnaise. And they also executive produce the show, which is hosted by me and a man who would most certainly milk a pigeon till the cows came home, Andres Bartos. We'll see you in the next place.